In the NEL arc, our blue lockers are in a special situation. It's like a unique game with its own rules, as Ego mentioned. They need to figure out how to make it in the pro soccer world. So today we'll talk about how each of our blue lockers has managed to do well by either fitting in, working together, or changing the team like a game of musical chairs to stay in the game. The U20 Barcha team system was like a blank canvas, waiting for someone to bring in their unique ideas. It was an empty space where creativity could shine. This is where Barcha stepped in. He was inspired by Livigno's philosophy of taking bits from strong players and adding them to his own style. Barcha took this to heart and worked hard to blend his imagination and skills. He wanted to embrace the Ginga spirit and create something extraordinary. As a result, he developed a whole new dribbling style called Ginga X Monster. What's cool about this is that Barcha's new dribbling style isn't just more efficient, but it's also made it easier for his teammates to follow his lead. Before, his dribbling was all over the place, like a wild child, and no one could predict it. Now, it's become like a well-organized system, similar to Kaiser's style. This means that his U20 Barcha teammates and future blue lockers like Otaya and U20 defenders can sync up with his plays. This teamwork has turned Barcha into a goal-scoring machine as a striker. Looking ahead, it's likely that the story will focus on how Barcha continues to grow into a soccer powerhouse by following Livigno's philosophy of adopting the strengths of stronger players and taking his monster skills even further. While the Barcha team may not be the strongest, having someone like Barcha as their striker can be a game changer. With his leadership, they have the potential to transform from a team with 0 wins to one that consistently scores goals, much like how Kaiser was the main goal scorer for Bastard Munchen with his Kaiser impact. Manshine City is a fascinating team to explore. They're all about speed and going full throttle. What's interesting is that they have a superstar-like system where any of their forwards can become the star player in the right situation. Let's take a closer look at each of the team's 3 main stars to understand this better. Chigiri is a player who sometimes gets underestimated by fans because he's all about speed. But in my opinion, that's what makes him super special. When someone focuses entirely on speed and turns it into a deadly weapon, they can achieve incredible things. Take Loki, for example. Before the NEL arc, Chigiri's speed was his only way to score goals, and it wasn't enough to compete with the top strikers in bluelock. But now, he's got this thing called the Golden Zone, and it's a game changer. He can use a move called the Mach cut-in to get to a perfect spot about 19 meters away from the goal at a 44-degree angle, and that's where the magic happens. It might sound easy to defend against on paper, but once he reaches his golden zone, it's nearly impossible to stop. Chigiri's blend of insane speed and his golden zone has turned him into an amazing winger. Plus, he's even scored the only goal against the tough PXG team. Rio is an incredible player with excellent skills and a well-balanced game. He can mimic almost any play out there. But the thing is, he doesn't fully realize just how amazing he is. He often thinks he needs some kind of extraordinary talent to guide him. Now, don't get me wrong. I have no doubt that Rio and Nagi will achieve great things together, like winning the World Cup. But they might be going about it the wrong way. It's essential for them to grow stronger on their own and not depend on each other all the time. I think Rio's key to progress lies in perfecting his ability to mimic and merging the styles of Itoshi Sai and Itoshi Rin, as he's talked about before. He'll likely shift his focus even more towards improving his physical abilities to create a body that can handle this fusion. With this, he can become a maestro on the field, passing to anyone he deems capable of scoring the goals he envisions. By building the perfect physique that can execute both Itoshi Sai and Itoshi Rin's plays, it won't be just copying anymore. It'll be something uniquely his. We might get a glimpse of this evolved Rio towards the end of the Neo Egoist League. AGI, often referred to as the giver of life and the bringer of death, seems to have fallen back into his old ways. However, I believe his ego might take a hit during the PXG match, prompting a transformation in the Barcha or Uber's game, especially the latter. Nagi and Baru have a unique rivalry that could wake up Nagi Seishiro's dormant ego. Nagi's got some brilliant tricks up his sleeve, like his talent for setting traps that either breathe life into a play or stifle momentum completely, life and death. He's got this recurring life and death theme in his style. Recently, he's added a new trick to his arsenal, a reset trap that can instantly turn a play back to square one. This, to me, hints at where Nagi's development might lead. With the ability to reset a play at will, he can take a moment to size up the situation and then create his own plays, building off his traps. This could quickly turn the game around in his team's favor. It's a fascinating concept, and I hope he overcomes his current challenges and stages a comeback against FC Barcha. By the end of the arc, we might witness the rebirth of Kaneshiro, who can not only playmake, but also possesses more football knowledge and becomes a significant threat on the field. He'll no longer be a fledgling, he'll be a full-grown player ready to make his mark. As we've seen, Chigiri was the star player in PXG's match against Manshine City, as he was the only one who had scored a goal, while Nagi might take center stage in the game against FC Barcha. This transition could lead to a rejuvenated team by the time they face Ubers in their fourth match. I'll use this moment to quickly ask you guys that if you are liking my content so far and wish to support me, subscribe to the channel. Now back to the video. Let's dive into Uber's defensive strategy. Their midfield is packed with about 5 players, with Nico taking up a central position. This setup allows him to be like a watchtower in the middle of the field, ready to trigger a high press along with his teammates when the opposition has the ball. When the opposing team manages to break through the midfield and reach the back line, that's when their 2 center backs, Ryu and Aiku, come into play. Aiku, with his exceptional vision, can spot the weak spots on his side of the field, while Ryu, with his long limbs, focuses on recovering the ball. And when everything else fails, here comes Lorenzo, the sweeper, and a new Gen 11 player. It's clear that this formation was tailored to make the most of Lorenzo and Baru's abilities, especially after Chapter 211. Lorenzo takes on the role of a sweeper in defense, which means he's there to snatch up loose balls or swipe the ball from the opposing players when they're trying to score. Thanks to his incredible vision, flexible limbs, and strong physique, he's a standout defender, almost like the boss of Uber's defense. However, things shift when Ubers gains possession of the ball. Nico and Lorenzo have this neat trick where they switch positions during the game. Nico shifts to being a center back, and this works even better because of his incredible spatial awareness. It's a smart move because it enhances his role as a watchtower on the field. With Nico's new position, Lorenzo becomes a midfielder, showing off his zombie-like dribbling skills and connecting with his teammates through slick passes to outmaneuver the opposing team. While everyone's focused on Lorenzo, this creates the perfect opportunity for the Shadow King, Baru, to score goals. This dynamic played a significant role in Baru's goal-scoring spree during the Barcha match, but there's more to it. What's really intriguing about Uber's formation is that it's a 3-5-1-1 setup. Sendao is the key here, playing behind Baru. It's known from the Nagi spin-off and the manga that Baru does his best when he can work freely without much pressure. With Sendu in a sort of false striker role, he takes some of the attention away from Baru, giving him space to operate unnoticed and keep those goals flowing. The way Ubers plays is pretty cool, with different tactics up their sleeve. Baru operates in the background while Lorenzo or Sendao divert attention away from him. The only players who can probably figure out where Baru is hiding are those with meta-vision or those with super keen perception, like Lorenzo. Uber's team is really fascinating because it highlights how Baru had to collaborate with the team's ace defender Lorenzo to create such a unique strategy. It's a great example of how to survive in a professional-level environment. This team is like a battlefield, but unlike the other 3 teams, Bastard Munchen already has an established system, with Kaiser as the ace who's known for mass-producing goals through his Kaiser impact. For any Blue Lock player to prove their worth, they either have to fit into Kaiser's system, which is nearly impossible for someone like Asagi, or show that they're a better option than Kaiser. The latter option has led to a fierce power struggle, even continuing against Ubers in the present. What's the outcome of this power struggle? It's tough to predict, but I believe that the Bastard Munchen versus Ubers match could mark the point where Bastard Munchen's heart is finally established. With many of the Blue Lock players infiltrating Bastard Munchen's starting lineup and potentially replacing players like Ness, things are changing. Isagi is proving that he's just as good, if not better, at scoring goals than Kaiser. This could push Kaiser to fulfill the Naked King prophecy by the start of the PXG match. Although a king without his clothes is still a king, I believe the PXG match will serve as a growth opportunity for Kaiser as a player, with his rival Isagi becoming a significant obstacle for him. As for PXG, their philosophy is still a mystery. In the context of Blue Lock, France was described as a league that opens doors to success for newcomers and young talents. That's one reason why Loki, a 17-year-old genius, is mentoring PXG. I think this team aims to showcase emerging talents like Rin, who could potentially become part of the next Gen 11. Not much to say on Shido, but we'll most likely see a confrontation of Kunigami versus Shido, with Shido possibly leveling up and forming chemical reactions, who will regain his original hero personality against Shido and show him how he's improved. We could see a wild card flashback of why he became the way he did, with him finally coming to terms with it, or surpassing his ego. It's going to be an intriguing matchup. In this match, I anticipate Rin finally coming to terms with his destroyer ego and learning how to harness it effectively. He might make a shift from his usual logical playstyle to a more instinctive one, similar to his destroyer mode. If you resonate with my content, subscribe to the channel. I'm out. Peace.